New year, new income. I'm going to do a presentation today to tell you how I made my first $100,000 in profit online. Okay, so most of you have probably seen this video on Facebook, where I told people that I just had made my first $100,000 online. It took me 18 months. So let me know if this sounds exciting to you. I'm assuming it does since you're all here. Put something in the chat. Come on, guys, make some noise. All right. Before we start, I want to tell you that this is not advice. I believe that advice is the cheapest commodity. Everybody wants to give it out there. I think that depending on where everybody is at right now, you will gain out of this whatever you need to gain. So I will leave it up to you to decide which of the information is useful for you. And you can take it and use it as you find appropriate. It's not a get-rich scheme. I do think that $100,000 in 18 months is a pretty good chunk of money to make. In total transparency, I've made a lot more in my life in 18 months. So for me specifically, it's not that much of a huge deal, but doing something from scratch on my own in such a short amount of time, I think is pretty meaningful. So I thought that I would share what I did. I'm not promoting anything, anybody, no affiliate marketing, so don't worry about that. I won't sell you anything. And this is definitely not a suggestion that is the only way to get results, okay? I think that specific things work for different types of people. Some people have other types of talents. Some people have other types of skills. I think there's some things that are replicable that I did and you can use, but it's definitely not the only way. It's what I did. I know it worked for me, and I'm sharing you stuff that I don't think you will find out there in common free webinars, at least. So my intention today is to share with you what has worked for me, help you discover if this kind of stuff that I'm talking about may be for you. Maybe you discovered that some things you have been doing, you'll discover why they haven't been working for you. I want to make you truly have meaningful progress with solving your core problems. And I actually want to prove to myself that this content is valuable. So as you're hearing information that clicks, if you have any breakthroughs, if you think something was amazing information, please let me know in the chat. I will be looking at the chat afterwards. Okay, what I want to say in this slide is that I consider myself highly educated. And I'm not only speaking about my traditional education, which includes 3 college degrees from a private university in the United States, which was good. It helped me start a career. But I tell people that traditional education actually let me down because it didn't set me up properly for life. And what happened to me was, I think I was living what people call the American dream, but I was actually very miserable. So I was working paycheck to paycheck. I had a good salary, had a steady job. I was working for the US government. I reached all the way to the Pentagon. I had many, many, many employees that I was leading as a senior leader. But basically, I was spending so much time working throughout the year just to pay the bills. And it was very painful to do so. And that's how I started my self-education journey, where I read tons of books, attended seminars, got mentorship, participated in masterminds, all kinds of nice stuff. And it truly transformed myself, my belief system. I mean, people that knew me 7 years ago will probably tell you that they see now a different person. So I've actually been able to release myself from what I call the golden handcuffs, where I don't need to work for other people anymore. So I do stuff that I love. What I'm doing right now was once a dream. And, it's super, super nice to have the power to be able to decide, have the choice to decide, what city, state, country you want to live in, how long you want to stay in a place. Just have that flexibility of money and time. It's phenomenal. But now I'm doing what I really love, which is giving information to the public, which I think is very, very helpful. Okay, so as I said, I made $100,000 in this business. It took me 12 months to make my first 50,000, and then another 6 months to make my second 50,000. So I did my second 50 in half the time. But here's the best part. The last $25,000 I made in that last week before I made that video. So I made an offer, people saw it, I sold a bunch of it, and I made 25,000 in a week, okay? So pretty cool. I'll tell you a little bit more about that. My gross margins are over 95%. What that means is that most of the money that I received is actually profit. There's very little expenses that I have. So most of this money is actually profit. I see this blue line in the middle. Anybody know how to remove it? Maybe I did it by mistake. Clear. Oh, there it goes. Okay. Sorry about that. I did not pay for any ads to earn my first $100,000. And to be totally honest, what I mean here is I actually did pay a couple $1,000s in the last 2 years, but they didn't do anything. It was basically a waste of money. I know exactly where all my customers came from. None of them came from ads. So I just played around with that a little bit. I never figured it out. But I'm here to tell you that you don't have to worry about spending money in ads with your online business in the beginning. Okay. I still do not have a professional website. You'll see in a bit why that's important. And I don't have any coaching certifications, and I'm not planning to get any. Nothing against coaching certifications, but I've been coaching people for about 15 years as a senior leader. That was my job, to develop people. And I believe, honestly, that if you need a piece of paper to earn a living, then anybody else can do the same as you. And now you have a lot of competition. So for those of you that just think that you're going to get a piece of paper and start making tons of money, I'm not saying that you can't, but it's not as simple as that. As I said before, I have 3 college degrees. They didn't do much to help me make tons of money. My own experiences of education actually was what helped me. Okay, more specifically, the way I made the $100,000 online was from one-on-one coaching, group coaching, masterminds, and seminars. I've never made an offer that didn't sell. So I've made multiple offers, and I had always at least one customer. And this is like a guesstimate, but I'm pretty sure if I take the total amount of hours I spent, I didn't spend more than 7 hours a week in this business. Okay, so I have been doing this so far part-time, which makes the 100K even more exciting because I didn't sweat much and struggle much to make this money. And that's why I'm here talking to you about this. 90% of my clients came from Facebook. Okay. Chat and put in the chat if you know me from Facebook. I'm very curious. Or if you're watching this later, type it in the comments. I've only served about 70 clients in these 18 months. So if you do the math, the average client pretty much paid $1,500. Okay. And there's also a good reason why I wanted to point out this fact. And it's because I didn't start this business trying to get people that would pay me $20, $30, $50, which I know many people do because they think it's easier, but I will prove to you that it's actually not easier. It's the same level of difficulty, if not more difficult, to make a good amount of money when you have people paying you a small amount a small amount. I did hire coaches along the way. Some of them were good, some of them were so-and-so, some of them I didn't learn much, but actually did learn much because I learned what I wouldn't do that they did. So it's all a great benefit for me. And I did pay and I continue to pay for several courses to build all kinds of skills that I need. I changed my messaging a few times until I started to see results. So don't be disappointed if it doesn't work for you right away. It took me 4 months before anybody paid me. So the first 4 months, I didn't make an offer, to be honest, but I was seeing what's happening. And it was very, very quiet. Okay, so I'll tell you what I did until I got my first customer. And I did all this by myself. I have no employees, but I do pay freelancers for various services as required. For example, graphics, translations, etc., etc. Okay, so what are my offerings? I dabbled between growth mindset, personal development, high performance, and financial literacy, okay? I'm a big advocate of personal development, self-improvement, growth mindset, but what I found was that nobody would want to pay me for these things, okay? I mean, think about it. Who wants to pay to get a new mindset? If that's the only thing you're getting, are you ever going to pay somebody $2,000, $3,000, $5,000, $10,000? No, you want to know that you're getting something more than that. Okay. So I know, and I knew that people needed a different mindset. That personal development is, in my opinion, a requirement for everybody, but my messaging was wrong. My offer was wrong. And until I changed it and I put more tangible results to it, people were not paying attention to me, okay? So I did learn a lot of stuff in the journey, and I found a niche, and then I found another niche. And the reason why I'm pointing this out is because I'm sure some of you have gone to other types of courses where people talk about you must find your niche, you must find your niche. That drove me crazy. They were trying to make me be extremely specific. I want to help everybody. I couldn't be specific. I do believe the more specific you are, the better it is. But I will tell you that I still feel somewhat of a generalist, and I was able to get a good chunk of income out of this, okay? So I don't know that it's that important in the beginning. I believe you need to have multiple offers at different price levels and have a particular expertise that you are the expert in, okay? So that's truly what I think people need to know. If somebody sees you going from one thing to the other, then you're not really the best at something. And I think people are trying to find the best person that can actually help them. But don't worry way too much about being, about finding that niche just by thinking, because I actually found my niches by doing stuff. They just appeared in front of me. I connected the dots and I found out, what is the similarity between all these people? And I found it. And then as I was doing more work, I went even deeper and added another layer to my niche, okay? All my offers are structured around my own accomplishments and the profound knowledge that I put together to create replicable systems, okay? I don't think that people will pay for knowledge that they can Google by themselves. And I think there's so many people out there that are repeating information that, frankly, we can all Google, okay? So what is it that we have all done differently? What is it that we have? What is our own expertise? What have we accomplished? And everybody has unique accomplishments in some way. And can you put them in a way where they can be repeatable for more and more people? If you can do that, then you have yourself a very nice offer that I'm sure if the right people hear it, they will want to entertain the idea of actually buying it from you. I actually spend a lot of time studying my existing customers and my potential customers. And this is key, okay? People need to feel certain that you have the solution to the problem. The bigger the problem, the more people are thirsty for a solution. I have my own business problems, if you will. I am thirsty for people that have the solutions, and I still can't find them. When I find them, I will pay the right price if I believe that they have the solution, right? You see how it goes? So you need to focus on the customer problem. Now, when you scroll online, be honest here, and let me know in the chat, yes or no. Doesn't it feel like every time you do it, you're on social media, there's another expert who you probably have never heard before, trying to squeeze another purchase from you, maybe a new course, a new program, a new membership, an ebook. I mean, I see it every single day, multiple times a day. I don't even know who some of these people are. I've never seen them before, but they claim to be expert. They claim to have a magic solution to this huge problem. So they will give me happiness and money and the best relationship. And don't you love the 18-year-old who wants to promise you how to find the best love in your life? Those are usually the best ones, right? So why I believe that most people do not succeed and probably will not succeed. I think people miscalculate the time, money, and effort that is necessary to succeed, and then they quit. And the reason why you need time in this type of business is because you need to build trust, okay? I don't care how much money somebody has. Nobody wants to, just waste or spend their money or just think that they could have got a better deal somewhere else, but they're going to pay you. So it takes some time for people to build trust with you. Money can be perceived here in a couple of ways. You may need money to pay for things that you don't know how to do by yourself, like building a landing page, a website, email marketing, whatever you may need, uploading things on YouTube, creating graphics, or you may need money to be coming in from a different source, which was my case, so that I don't have to worry about making money from this business in order to live. Luckily, I have multiple sources of income, so I don't live on from this income. I use all of this money I reinvest it back in the business, okay? So I spend a lot of money on my own self-education, and then I donate some, okay? And effort, like you will try many, many things until you find what works for you. The more I do other people's courses, and I've done courses that people actually, people that are making a lot more money than me, or at least they're claiming, they seem to be real. And the stuff that they've said did not work with me, okay? So I don't think there's a formula that works for everybody, but I think the principles actually work for most people. And that's why today I'm going to focus a lot on the principles, like what you need to be thinking about, what are your first steps, if this is even for you, like that's really the most important things, because if you follow the right principles, then you can probably figure out what to say yes to and what you said no to. So I think that too many people, come in all excited. They see other people have some kind of success. They believe people that claim they make $10,000 a month or $100,000 a month. I guarantee you, a lot of them are not honest with that. It's for somebody like me who has made a good amount of money in my life, it's not that hard to see who knows how to make money and who doesn't. It's really not that hard, trust me. But in any case, a lot of people get excited. They come in, they want to, go all in and spend some money, time, effort. And what happens is they don't get the results that they wish to get. And oftentimes incorrectly, they determine that they or their idea is not good enough. I say oftentimes incorrectly because I truly believe that some people can't succeed. I mean, if you put enough time, money, and effort, at some point it may, it could be unreasonable that you don't succeed, assuming you don't quit, okay? It all depends on how good you are, what is your foundation, and what do you have that you can actually turn it into something valuable that people are willing to pay you for, okay? But what I can assure you is that you do not need a huge following, a perfect website, and presence in each and every social media platform. People go crazy. They have accounts on Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Clubhouse, TikTok, I don't know, did I forget any? Like YouTube? You don't need that. You're going to see in a little bit that the algorithms are so peculiar in each platform that you need to spend a good amount of time on each one so that basically you can make the algorithm work on your behalf You can have enough followers that see what you are doing. And basically, you want to prove your concept. You want to show to yourself that what you have to offer works, because until you have something that sells, there's no point of having 100,000 channels of communication. There's really no point. You need to have a few clients. I would say until you have $100,000 in income, don't have more than 1 or 2 social media channels. And I'm serious. I have Facebook and Instagram, and for the last few months, my Instagram has been blocked. I've given up on trying to get it back, so I'm going to open a new one. But as I showed you, I've made 90% of my money on Facebook. So the idea that you need to be everywhere and have thousands and thousands of followers is honestly, in my opinion, a waste of your time, especially in the beginning, okay? What you do need to do, and mark this down, is you need to be able to produce much more value to your customers than you probably think you do. Most of the time, and I never regret paying money for my self-education, but it's rare that I say to myself, wow, I got a lot more than what I expected. However, it is not rare anymore for me to hear from my customers that that's what they believe. And I love it. I love people telling me that they got a lot more than what they thought, okay? And the reason why that's happening is because I give them what they want. Let's say we're talking about financial freedom, financial independence. I do these seminars, these masterminds, but I give them a lot more than that, which is, a way to have a better mindset, a way to master themselves, et cetera, and they do see that value, okay? So you don't need a following, you don't need perfect websites, you don't need to spend money on all these, perfecting all these things. You do need to find something that's extremely valuable to people. If you can find that, like spend all your energy there, figuring out what people want, not what you believe they want, what they want, okay? The people that are willing to pay you. Now, I'm telling you all this, not because I'm smart, but because I actually failed big time back in 2012. So back in 2012, I actually started my first company in New Jersey, which was an IT company. It was a limited liability company, right? So I'm a computer engineer, and I thought I would build a huge company in IT. I would do consulting, make websites, manage big offices. And what happened was I was so obsessed on creating the perfect logo, website, business cards, that I was barely making any money. And to make a long story short, I shut the company down a few years later without making any more than a few bucks in a matter of years. So trust me when I tell you, the perfect image does not matter in the beginning. If you have a perfect image, and I have someone that when I saw their website and how professional it looked like, and I heard that for 2 years, they didn't make a single dollar, I was shocked. I said, this website has so much effort into it, and they had made no money. So they fell in the trap that I fell back in 2012. Okay, you don't need any of this in the beginning. So what did I do differently this time? I focused more on creating a good product and actually finding customers versus trying to perfect my image, right? If you can see me now, look at my background, look what I'm wearing. Maybe my voice is not coming through perfectly. I actually did not even practice this presentation. I put it together just so that I can give it to you. I spent a lot of hours to actually put it together, but I didn't even practice. So I focus on my content, and I'm focused on giving you value, because I know that the people that actually are looking for it, that's what they care about. And the people that I study, my mentors, they're exactly the same, or at least they were in the beginning, okay? They don't really care about how their hair looks. They don't really care about if everybody's going to like them. They care about, communicating stuff that they truly believe works. And if you look at the biggest names, by the way, I don't think they've actually gotten any coaching certificates either, right? So I don't think that Tony Robbins has any coaching certificates. I focused on understanding customers' needs and providing a good solution for them. I designed my products based on what customers wanted, but I also gave them what they needed, okay? Don't try to sell people what they need because they may never buy it. This is key over here. When I heard that the first time in a course that I took, it was a $2,000 course where I heard this, and that's exactly what I was missing. I was trying to sell people a mindset, and nobody was going to pay me for a new mindset, okay? Once I told them how to make money, they all started paying me. So sell them what they want, offer them what they want, but then give them what they need in order to get what it is that they want, if that makes any sense. If it makes sense, let me know in the chat. And of course, I obsessed about trying a whole bunch of things to see what will work. When I make a decision, I don't quit. I like to go all in. I failed many, many, many times. I've done things that didn't work. Some things may have been embarrassing. Some things where there was a lot of effort behind them, but I'm like, okay, I know now that I don't need to do this again. It didn't work. It didn't come across nicely. People thought I was too aggressive. People thought I wasn't real, whatever it may be. Everything is a learning experience if you see it that way. And the result was a great amount of encouragement, okay? I have hundreds and hundreds of messages throughout the last 18 months. I just went through the last month and I grabbed a few screenshots. I mean, there's people telling me to open YouTube channels. There's people recommending me to others on public sites, on big groups, I mean. So, you know, if I can be honest here, I think people believed in me being able to coach others before I believed that in myself. So it's different when you can have your own results, but it's different when you can bring results in other people. And I knew I could do it the first because I've done it many times. And I knew that I could do the first in a working environment where somebody's your employee and they almost, you know, have to hear you because, you know, you're their boss. But it was actually another challenge to be able to communicate knowledge, motivation, skill to people that were not in those environments. And so it seems that, you know, people saw that encouragement. And then as I got into it and I started having paying clients, I saw that, you know, the results were there. So the first thing that I'd like you to ask yourself is, why should anyone listen to me? Okay. And if you have an answer, and if you want to share it to the crew here, by all means, feel free to put in the chat. Like, what is it that you have that people should listen to you? I think a big thing that people fail to do, and it may be frustrating for a lot of us, is that people want to just tell us what to do, right? Like, how many times you see somebody on Facebook and like, oh, they're like jogging, like, you should be jogging every single morning and, you know, take care of your health and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, you question yourself, are you like an athlete? Are you a professional athlete? Have you been doing it for the last 25 years? Like, why do I need to listen to you? And especially when you tell me something that I know, but most people don't actually build that good habit. So I think we're tired of listening to people telling us what to do. It'll be more interesting if you show people what you actually did, okay? And I'm not saying go for a jog and take a video of you jogging. You can put that as a story if it's supporting information to your big thesis and what you do, that's totally fine. But random advice here and there does not make anybody an expert, okay? It does not. So show people what you did. In other words, you want to prove yourself that in some way you're an authority in a subject, okay? People are dying for wisdom. They're dying to find real experts. They are. There's a lot of money out there that is to be spent, and unfortunately, it's going to the wrong places because people cannot find the right experts, the real authorities, in order to pay them. I would highly suggest that you don't claim that you've accomplished things that you did not. Personally, if you break my trust, you're done. And I think a lot of people are like that, whether they're already your customers or not. People in this business need to trust you, especially if you're working with many cold leads that have never heard of you before and somehow, found you, are listening to you, and may want to, pay for what you have to offer. Don't claim that you did things you didn't. I think sooner or later, people will figure that out. It's not a good thing for you to do. I also think if you repeat famous people's ideas or systems, you won't go far. Why would you pay me, if I'm repeating everything that somebody that's well-established is known for, right? Like, why would you come to me if I'm saying exactly the same things? Or if I read their books and I'm just repeating some information? A lot of people do that. I see it all the time. Don't do that. It won't get you far. Just like I see a lot of people translating famous people's content, and then they take it to their country and they translate it and they give it. And some of it is so outdated. Like, I don't want to insult anybody, but I see things being communicated now by business coaches that I did in college, and I know that it's useless in the real world. And now, almost 20 years later, people pay to get this information, which, by the way, one, you can Google. Two, it's not even applicable, okay? Like, some of the things that they taught us in school and we did at work is because that's how companies can get the most out of employees, okay? In that environment, they're great tools. All these project management, all these SWOT tools, all these like SMART goals, they're excellent things in a working environment because that's how they're able to see how much you've done, squeeze the most out of you, and basically have something where they can keep you accountable. But that's not necessarily what works in the real life outside. Okay, people definitely want to see your credentials, okay? So I've built a story around a few things that I've done. The properties that you see on the left side, I make money from them. That's my primary source of income. That's what allows me not to work for other people anymore. I have spent a long career in the US government. You see me at the Pentagon. You see on the right top hand some of the notes from the people that wished me goodbye when I left the Pentagon. If you look closely, right, the third from the right is actually a two-star general that wrote his note over there. Listen, folks, government people do not make a lot of money, okay? It's not a high-paying job. I spent 14 years there. The fact that I left that career, spent 3 years only in the private sector, and now I'm financially free is a big deal. So there is a story behind what I'm selling, and people want to hear your story, okay? And my story is not about money. My story is about that I had a lot of pain in my life because I was miserable, working so many hours just to pay the bills in cities that I didn't really enjoy because of the bad weather, and my friends were far away, and there was no beach and all these nice things that I wanted. And that was what turned into my why and helped me reach out to mentors and coaches and billionaires and CEOs and the people that really helped me with the right knowledge that I needed in order to make the changes that I had to make in my life. And now I'm an accredited investor, as you can see in the bottom right, which means that my net worth, excluding my first home, is $1 million. So these are my credentials. And then my ability to produce results is shown by or validated by people that have worked with me and were kind enough to give me a testimonial. And these are just a few that I found and I wanted to show you. So these are very important things that people want to see to get more proof about what it is that you're doing and if people have results, okay? Now, I said before that there's a lot of people out there that are willing to pay top dollar for your products and services. And if that's the case, why do most people struggle with an online business when there are so many people out there willing to pay a lot of money? I will try to explain that in a few seconds, but in the meantime, I'd like to know in the comments if you are already in an online business and you're selling information, skills, or a different service. And if you want to share if it's going good, if it's going bad, if you are in the beginning, share what information you want so we can understand, where you are in your journey. Or if you're not, let us know if you would like to enter the online business and make money just by using your laptop and an internet connection. So let us know. I'll be looking at the comments afterwards, and I will, respond when I post this online. Okay, so I think that most people are lacking entrepreneurial skills. If you think about it, most people that start a business, not everybody, but most people were once artists who wanted to be their own boss. So what is an artist? An artist is the architect, it's the engineer, it's the graphic designer, it's the social media marketer, it's whatever somebody was doing, their role in business before they decided to quit that and become their own boss. But people think that the only thing they need is that skill set that they had, which they may have been very, very good at that. I know people that are very good at what they do, but they struggle in business, okay? By the way, same applies for lawyers, for doctors, for dentists. That's what an artist is. Somebody who has a skill and they do it very well, and then one day they decide they want to be their own boss. So what happens is when you become a business owner, you actually need to learn a series of new skills in addition to what you're already good at, assuming you are good at something already, okay? And if you are selling information and skills to others, you better be good at something first, okay? I'm not saying that you may not find a way to be very successful, but I really want to tell you that the people that I see pay me high ticket, packages, and that's usually about $8,000 to $10,000 a person. They want something very specific, and they trust that I'm the person that will give it to them. Okay, so you need to be pretty good at something before you go out there, which means spend some time building your own skills before you go out there and you promise people that you know how to make them, superstar entrepreneurs and 10, 20,000 a month coaches. Okay, I'm not claiming I can do that because, like I said, I've made a lot of money in my life, but this new endeavor is still new for me. Okay, 18 months is not a long time to have meaningful results. It's not. So running a business requires, in addition to technical skills, it requires strategic thinking, time management, advertising, sales, copywriting, communication skills, persuasion skills, customer support, financial literacy, and more, right? There's a lot of things that you need to do. There's a lot of hats that you need to wear if you want to run a business. And if you're making $100,000 in profits, you should be running as a business, because I know people that have a business make a lot more than $100,000 a year, and their profit is maybe 10% of that, because there's so many other people that they have to pay, there's overhead and all these other things. But at the end of the day, these amounts of money, you need to be running yourself as a business, which means that it's not only, I know what I'm doing, here it is, go do it, and you need to pay me. No, there's all these other things you need to get right, okay? Marketing and sales were things that were strange, I had no clue about these things, and they're so critical. Marketing and sales. We're going to talk a little bit more about this in a bit. But what I want you to know is that the best way to last in a very dynamic and competing environment is to be determined to dominate, okay? Dominate. Don't think about getting a small piece of the pie. Go in thinking that you have something that nobody else can come close to, at least right now. Maybe they will in 2 years from now. Like your story, your offer, the way you do it, the speed in which you get it done, the painless way that you can have results will allow you to dominate a market, because nobody will go to the gym anymore and pay only $50 a month and waste 2 years of their life, because you are now the best fitness coach that knows exactly what I need to do, who's been struggling for years, let's say, with my food, my exercising. And I now know that you convinced me that you've done all the diets, you've gone to the gym, you had trainers, you've done all the things that I've done too, but you know how you can get me results in 6 months. You see, like if you can say that, and I'm looking for that, everybody else becomes now meaningless. I'm coming to you. And that's how you dominate a market. So I want you to think about, how can you tie what you've been doing all these years to your existing or a future online business? I'm pretty sure nowadays, almost everybody can make money online. And if this is something that you're interested in, just go back and see everything that you've been doing all these years. How can you tie it in such a way where people will find it valuable and would want to pay you for that? Okay. If they can find it for free and it's easy to do so, I don't see, why people won't just Google it and just search for it themselves. It has to be something different. Now, I have people that tell me, and they're usually very wealthy, that they will not join a 6-month mastermind because they just want to give me, I don't know, $10,000, $20,000, and they want me to tell them in a couple hours what to do, or they want me to do it for them. So there are customers like that don't have the time, that don't want to spend the time in, things that drag for a long time. They just want you to tell them, okay, I have no idea how to invest my money. Just do it for me. And tell me what I need to pay you and I'll do it. Okay. So there's many ways to create an offer. You have to figure out what you can do that you truly believe that you are good at. It still surprises me when I meet people that are so successful. I mean, they've reached successes that I would only dream about, right? They've built like companies and they made millions, and they have no idea how to invest their money. Or they don't know some, in my opinion, basic tax avoidance law in the US or in Greece or the countries that I work in. And they're so impressed and they're surprised that, oh, wow, I could have saved so much money in tax if I did this, or I don't pay taxes if I do this. And it shocks me. So that gives you another level of confidence that I can even speak to people that have made a lot more money than I ever did. So you don't have to be the best in an industry. You have to be really, really good at what you've done. And if you go backwards and if you spend some time there, or if you work with a coach, you may uncover what that may be for you. Okay, but it's very important that you actually find that. Again, what can you offer that almost nobody else can? Be as specific as possible. The bigger the problem you solve, the better it is. The more unique the solution, the better. I mean, if you are a psychologist and you're doing basic sessions, okay, depending on the country where somebody lives, they will pay you anywhere between 20 euros to $500 an hour. Okay, but that's what you're going to get, right? If you're a yoga teacher, you may get in a classroom environment, you may make, I don't know, a couple $100. You may make anything between $20 to $200 one-on-one if you do yoga, but that's all you're going to get. What I want you to think about is, how can you leverage that skill that you have, whether it's, psychology, yoga teaching, whatever it may be. I mean, it could be as simple as helping Niko speak better, be good in front of the camera, social media skills. Like, there's so many important skills that we need these days, and structured in a way where you don't get paid by the hour. You get paid by the value that you bring to this person, so that they can give you a lot more money when you work with them, regardless of how many hours you spend on them, okay? So figure out how to make more money per hour. Don't try to make another $20, $30, $50 per hour because you're going to burn out. Okay. You're going to see that it's not easy in this extremely competing environment to find tons of customers in the early years. It's not. Everybody that I've studied, it took them a long time to get some followers. And the people that have a lot of followers and don't have the foundation behind it, just have followers. Trust me. I know a person that has 1 million followers and they told me that they don't make any money out of that. Okay, they have 1 million followers. It's a female, and you can probably understand why, what she may be doing to have 1 million followers. But she has said that she makes no money out of that. If you can promise that you can do something faster or easier, people will pay you for that. And the people that are actually looking for solutions will pay you probably more than you think your product or your service is worth. I promise you that. Like, if you can be so specific, and in some cases, what's funny, that people have skills that they don't really realize that it may be common sense for them, or they may have picked it up easily, like Bitcoin mining, or how to create landing pages, or do a funnel online, like all these, things that are very modern and useful these days. But other people just can't figure it out. They just can't figure it out. And all you need to do is show them how simple it is, or implement it for them, like give it to them ready. That could be another way, and you'll be able to make money out of that. Again, you have to focus on specific problems that you're solving. And if you can be specific with the solution, that's even better, okay? If you're vague, you're going to get very small chunks of money. I think you're going to burn out. And what's even worse, if you've actually left a career or a job or something that was steady and gave you some level of certainty, and you didn't like it, and you tried to do this and it didn't work for you because you were aiming low and you were doing the wrong things, it's going to be very painful to go back to the thing that you left and you didn't want to leave, and you wanted so bad to leave it, okay? So I'm trying to protect you by giving information that I think is very, very valuable here. Now, some tips. You may be doing the right thing. Some people may be doing the right thing, they're just not doing enough of it. So if you really, assuming you're in this industry and you really love it, I would urge you not to quit, assuming you can support yourself financially and you're not burning out, unless you do 100 times the effort. Like, I had months that I didn't make any money, months. Then again, I wasn't doing much during those months. I was buying real estate, I was traveling, I was working my full-time job that I had, not anymore. I wasn't, doing enough work. When I put together a great offer recently, and I started to, market it in major groups with a lot of following that may have my potential customers, I got the most chunk of money I ever did in a week from coaching, the $25,000 I told you, okay? So you need to do a lot more than you think, a lot more. And I'm saying this because some people, they are the minority, but some people are actually very good. They just don't do enough of it. I think if you're not making value-based offers, you will not earn what you deserve, okay? If you fall into the trap of thinking like people that want to pay you based on how much time you spent with them, then you're going to be creating packages based on the time you spent, like on an hour, month, year, whatever. It doesn't matter. If you can prove to somebody that you can bring a major output that they're looking for, trust me, the sooner they can get it, the more they will pay for you. So that mindset of well, you only work 2 hours with me, is mindset of people that don't have the growth mindset. They haven't spent enough money, or they haven't understood that, you spend enough money to get a lot of value, right? Until you each spend $10,000 on a course, on a coach, on a mastermind, it may be hard for you to charge that and feel good about it. Once you charge it, once you pay for it, pay for somebody else to be part of the mastermind, and you see what you get and how they do it, then you'll know what you need to do. And then you'll know that, look, there's another 100 people in here that paid $10,000 to be here for only one day, not even a whole day, not even 24 hours. They paid to be here for 8 hours, $10,000, and there's 100 people. This guy made $100,000. Did I do the math correctly? $10,000, 100. He made $1 million, I think, right? In a day. So when you pay for this to the right, when you pay these amounts for the right people, for the right stuff, then you can understand why you should be doing the same thing. Okay. But you can't do it until you have something meaningful to offer. And most people get extremely disappointed because they aim so big in the beginning with these huge amounts that other people promise them they're going to make, and they get let down. And if you don't stack wins on top of wins, but you stack failures on top of failures, you're going to be feeling miserable, and more than likely you're going to quit. And I don't want you to quit, especially if you're good. Okay. Stack small wins. That's why I tell people that work with me, make a sale, make it like, keep making sales. I don't care if it's small amount at the beginning. I want you to have wins. Okay. You need to focus on a sale. If you ever heard of the app Fiverr, where you can make, a website for somebody or make a graphic for somebody. In the beginning, it's actually very hard to make your first sale. And a lot of people go really cheap in order to get somebody to pay them like $1 or $5. But in apps like that, when there's hundreds of thousands of other people doing what you're doing, you are competing against that. You're competing against other people that have higher reviews and are cheaper than you. So there's no other way to beat that system in the beginning. Okay, in the beginning. So you just have to do what it takes in the beginning to make some wins, because I believe even the person that's highly, highly driven will eventually quit if they don't have enough results. If you can make your product so good where people can't help but tell others about it, then you've created raving fans. And that is the best marketing that you can have. In my Greek edition mastermind for intelligent investments, I believe half of the participants, and it was a high ticket for Greece, it was a 2,000 euros, so pretty high ticket offer. Half of them were word of mouth. They were recommended by other people that knew me, had attended my stuff, and they trusted me enough to tell other people, hey, go pay him 2,000 euros, it's worth it. So it's really valuable because you don't have to try to figure out the Facebook ads thing and spending money left and right. Your easiest money at the beginning is people you know. If you serve them very well, they will find more people for you. But do not underestimate the need for marketing. I guarantee you, most of your future customers, they don't even know that you exist right now. Okay, that probably applies the same for me. And you will try many, many things that don't work, but one eventually will work. Keep repeating what works. When you find something that works, do it more. Don't shy away from doing something that works again and again. And I'm not saying that you may not get any meaningful results for the first 2 years, but if you come into this game not expecting or having low expectations in meaningful results, then you're going to have a better chance of actually focusing on things that you should be focusing on and not on what's not working. Okay, it's very hard for most of us to focus on, to not focus on, oh, I made an offer, it didn't work. I did a webinar and only 2 people showed up, or nobody showed up, or, whatever it is that bothers you. It's hard for you not to focus on that if your mind is obsessed about results and big results early on. Okay. So if you can come into this game not having expectations for 1 or 2 years, then in my opinion, you're a serious opponent. Like, you're serious. You're going to come in and play this game for some time. I believe that most coaches that you see online, the ones that are not famous, all your friends, all your Facebook friends are popping up, I will give them 18 months and they won't be there anymore. It's the same thing as real estate agents. I worked with real estate agents for many, many years. The average real estate agent in America, the median I'm sorry. Yeah, the median salary of an agent in America the first year is $0. Okay, people think they're going to sell $1 million home and make 6% of it. Yes, some people do, but in the first year, most agents make zero. They can't do anything, and that's why by the second year they've quit. I think the same thing will apply to people that go online because they come in to make money. And if you come into any business just to make money, then you don't love it enough. And because you don't love it enough, you won't do the uncomfortable work of talking to a customer that's dissatisfied, of doing the marketing campaigns, of figuring out what the copyright is, of double checking whatever people wrote, of writing articles that you want to post, posting content every single day, whatever it may be that you need to do. I think you won't do it with the same passion, and that's why you won't be good enough. So you want to actually have a strong reason why you want to do this, and it shouldn't be only money. So discipline and persistence. I would tell you that you need to commit to at least 3 years of effort if you decide that you want to do this. If you do, you want to start establishing yourself as an authority. So here's a big tip, okay? I want you to hide or consider, I shouldn't tell you I want you, consider hiding 99% of your personal pictures and stop sharing irrelevant posts on your social media. Yes, I know you're probably proud of your family and your dogs and your trips and all of that, but it actually damages it damages your brand, you know, when you put pictures that, you know, don't look professional or, you know, may show flaws of you that people don't want to see in a leader, or basically it's actually spam, if you will, in a page where you're trying to use it to sell something else. So my Facebook now is officially a channel where everything I do is supporting my business. Everything that I post is for my business, okay? There's nothing that I put there that I want my parents, my best friends, or anything like that to see. Everything that I put has a reason. If it's a story where I'm traveling the world, and if you see me pretty much every single month, I'm usually in a different city or country, it's to prove that, yes, I am actually doing it. If I'm making videos and I'm talking about something that may not be relevant to money, it's because that is what people need to hear in order to change their money mindset. So I really think that if you want to be serious about this, people need to scroll back as far as possible, and everything they see is related to you being an authority in what you're saying you are, okay? I see people that claim that they have all this ability to do bigger results, like bigger results than the bigger names in the industry, right? So they talk bad about the most famous people, and then every now and then they'll put a post about the friend that upset them and how bad they feel and this and that. And I'm not saying that we're not human and we don't have bad days and negative emotions, but somebody who cannot master themselves is not a respectable leader, right? Like, you want to listen to people that you actually look up to, people that have done more than the average human being, okay? We're all human. Nobody's perfect. I'm by no means I have a long way to go, but I've done a lot of work mastering my emotions, my mind, and I think it shows. And people that have, you know, been following me for some time, they've actually seen this growth, okay? So hide as much of that as you can, but then don't be too concerned of your image being too professional early on. I want you to be professional when you're speaking, with what you're selling. Like, don't do anything that's not respectable, but don't worry about perfecting them. That's what I mean by professional, like having a $50,000 website that somebody put together for you, or, you know, spend days and months and weeks or whatever to put together the best logo and the best business card. Like, all these things don't matter in the beginning. Content matters the most, okay? People are dying to get wisdom. They're sick of information that is so confusing and contradicting, and everybody's saying something and I don't know who to hear. And that was my story, when I tried to get financial advice, I was going to different experts and they were giving me different information. And they actually were an expert in their field, but nobody could talk to me because of where I was, right? Like if you go to Grant Cardone and ask for expertise and you're like broke, he may tell you a little bit, but he'll tell you stuff that's so far out there that you won't even know where to start, okay? And that's why he charges $30,000 an hour, because when you go to him, it's really high level information. If you're in the beginning, okay, you need the knowledge, you need the literacy, the financial literacy, you need the tactics. It's different stuff that you need. So let's see what else I have over here. Oh yeah, I want you to test all kinds of communication mediums so that you can determine what works best for you. Are you a good speaker? Can you make good videos? Are you a writer? Should you do a blog? Like I've seen all kinds of people use different mediums and have equivalent success. You don't need to be making videos to be successful. You don't need to have a podcast, or you don't need to have a blog only, or all of them. You can have one of them, or you can have either one of them. Like there's not one thing that will give you the best results, okay? There's people that only have blogs and wrote books, and they're very well known, they're millionaires, they're very successful, they're actually really, really good. But I've seen them a couple of times on video and they're very bad. And that's probably why they don't do video, because they realize that that's not for them. So test it out, see what's for you. When you like it, when you think that you can commit for 2-3 years, then continue to do it. But figure out what medium you want to use first. And like I said before, I wouldn't go more than 2 platforms in the beginning. Mine were Facebook and Instagram, and Instagram came at least a year later. So I started with one and then I went on the second one. So until you make 100K, I really don't see the point in being in multiple platforms. I think you're going to waste a lot of precious time. Every platform is different. What's more important is not to be seen by 1 million people today. What's more important today is you proving a concept that you can replicate. In other words, proving that you have an offer that people are buying it, and then, and only then, and once you actually sell the offer, get good results, improve it, only then go bigger. There's no point spreading yourself so thin early on when you don't even know if what you have works, okay? In a bit, I'm going to give you some secrets that are going to actually surprise you as far as what I do. Okay, authenticity and uniqueness. Okay, check out these pictures. Do they catch your eye when you see them? And check out in the bottom how many likes and comments some of these have got. Now, I don't even have 6,400 Facebook friends, but this picture to the right got 6,400 likes in a Tony Robbins group and 836 comments. Why? Because it grabbed people's attention. So, especially now when people are getting more and more comfortable grabbing their phone, taking a selfie, putting on a bikini, looking good, or I don't know what they do, videos, more and more people are doing it. Your future customers get lost in all this content and all these distractions. So attention is actually very important. And I believe that money will follow attention, and speed, execution, speed also is important for money, right? Like you need to be fast when it comes to coming up with an idea and putting it forward. So these are 2 things that I did that actually worked very well for me. One kind of shows that I have enough, like I've read, or I appear to have read a whole bunch of books that people may find it interesting. The other one is I did the work, right? I went all the way to the beach. I was holding this big board. I put a nice quote on there that I wrote. So people actually see that. They see the work you put into something, and it actually gives you more value. Not perfect pictures. There's shadow in the background. There's probably mistakes all over the place, but it doesn't matter. It got people's attention. Some of you may be here right now because of those pictures. It wouldn't surprise me. Like if somebody may have seen me the first time because of these pictures. It would be fun to see that if you write in the comments or the chat if you're watching live right now. But the point of the matter is that from these people, from these posts, I got my first leads, and I know that I got my first customers as well. So all the money that I made was organic, okay? I didn't have to pay for Facebook ads or any other ads in order to get the customers. They were organic, which makes it amazing. I mean, what other business can you actually start making money where you put yourself into an environment where there's actually billions of people? But what people do wrong is that they come in thinking that it's so easy to do it, and they dabble. They don't actually put in enough effort to become that authority, to become different, to be authentic, to be unique, and people want to see that. Okay. Now, another reason why you shouldn't be in multiple platforms, in my opinion, in the beginning, is because the algorithms, which are, in my opinion, perfect, they continuously change. And what I mean by perfect is Facebook actually does want you to succeed, okay? I mean, I used to get aggravated and pissed off because I knew that this was a very good picture and it didn't get enough likes. And I'm like, their stupid algorithm, they changed it again. I don't know why they're not showing my picture, but that's not what's happening, okay? What's really happening is that my content probably was not good enough. So if you pay attention to these screenshots, you'll see that even though I only have, let's say, about 4,500 Facebook followers, look how many people I reached in 28 days. My profile is public, so anybody can see what I'm posting, and people can share what I'm posting, and their followers can see what I'm sharing. So the followers, as I said in the beginning, do not matter once again, because more people can see your content than they appear to be following you. And don't be disappointed by the amount of likes, because it's harder and harder for people to actually hit the button. People just don't want to hit the button. It does not mean they didn't see your content. It does not mean they didn't like your content. I have people telling me all the time that they've been following me for 2 years, and I never even saw them engage in anything in those 2 years. So don't get disappointed by that. Just have a way to measure, to see your statistics, to have metrics that you're actually looking at, okay? And all the way to the right, I don't know if you've ever seen this, but this is fairly new. Facebook is actually now telling you whether you have visibility or not, okay? So I started with 3 days, 5 days, now I'm up to, I think I was up to 28 days, where it's telling me that because my content is being seen by many people, they're pushing it to even more. So they're actually telling you when you're helping their algorithm show you more and when they're not, which is actually very helpful, because this is another indication that you're doing the right thing or not. So if you haven't seen these, find a way to measure your statistics, look at your statistics and measure them, and understand how visible you are in the public. But if you're online, again, I would highly recommend that you do have a public profile and hide everything else that's irrelevant to what it is that you're doing. And the reason why you want to do that is because it's actually easier than ever for anybody with a digital device and the internet to enter the online marketplace, okay? Every person, no matter how small of a town in the middle of nowhere they live in, they can come in and be your competitor, and they can become one day the most known person in the industry, okay? And you can literally spend less than $100 if you want in your first year. Like all these tools that I'm pointing out here, Canva for making graphics, Zoom, we're using it right now. GrooveFunnels is what I use for my landing pages, or another fancy name for simple websites. MailChimp, if you've ever received an email from me, it probably came through MailChimp. Calendly, you may have used it to sign up to this event. And social media, it's free. Like, isn't it crazy that social media is free? That I made $100,000 using all these free tools? Like, I mean, what is the excuse to not try to make money if you want to make money when it's such a low barrier to entry. Okay, and people are blaming the algorithms, they're blaming, who knows what, I don't know. But my point is, it's doable. If you don't have results, it just means that you need to try things differently, that you may be selling something that you're either not good at yet, or you're not convincing, or your messaging is wrong. So there's something wrong there. And I'll be more than happy to help you, if you do have an offer. But I want you to invest your time in learning skills that you want to grow, and then contract out everything else. So if you see here, and I don't know if you know the website Fiverr, but in 2022, I did 25 projects in Fiverr. So Fiverr is a great app, extremely cheap. I use it to do some, graphics that I don't know how to do by myself. If I get stuck with my landing page and I don't know how to, do like a feature that may be unique, I will hire somebody there to do it for me. All the hard stuff that I just don't want to learn, I go on Fiverr and I find somebody to hire. So an amazing tool. Not everybody's perfect there. They're very cheap though. So yes, sometimes it's a little bit frustrating to find the right person, or they don't communicate well because English is a second language, et cetera, et cetera. But you will get a lot of value, much, much cheaper than all these major agencies that are good if you are a, business that's making a lot of money. If you're not there yet, I would highly recommend Fiverr. It's a great way to build things at a very low cost. You don't need to spend, you can literally spend $50 to make a website these days. I'm serious, $50 to make a simple website, okay? So because of this though, everybody can come in. It's a very low barrier to entry. So the people that will do well, or the people that will do very, very well, are the ones that are doing something differently, the ones that are actually focusing on their customer and what they want, okay? And again, it doesn't matter what each and every one of us believes the customer wants and what value we're giving to them. It is their perceived value that matters, okay? You may have gold in your hands, but if you cannot show that it's gold, they will never see that it's gold, okay? It's their perceived value that matters. Okay, so I wanted to give you some really, really good stuff as we're coming towards the end of the presentation here. So I put together some things that I call them my secrets, and I think are the super golden nuggets, assuming you got some already, but hopefully you did. Let me know in the comments, did you get some information that clicked for you? It was very good for you, and you're like, okay, now I know what to do, or, I didn't think this is for me, but maybe this is for me and I know how to do it. Let me know in the comments. I'll be more than happy to read them afterwards. Okay. It is actually easier to find one customer that will pay you $5,000 than it is to find 50 to pay you $100. Once you understand that, your business will change, okay? Become good enough where you can sell to someone something that costs a lot more than you're selling right now, and focus on doing it so good where the moment that person that needs what you have and has the money for it comes in front of you, actually buys it. It's much more worth the time spent to do all that first, so that you have enough cash flow to keep your business alive and you don't give up or go back to another job or a second job or do stuff that you don't like, and then you're moving your focus, okay? So if you can have, and frankly, the number one reason why most businesses fail, and most businesses actually do fail, is because they run out of cash flow. Not because they're not good businesses, they run out of money, okay? They don't have enough money coming in. So I believe strongly what I'm putting over here in front of you. It's easier. If it's not easier, it's the same effort. It's not harder to find one customer to pay you what 50 customers would have paid you altogether. So that was secret number one. Number two, you don't need to create your service or your product before you sell it or even market it. This whole presentation today, I put it together in the last 2 weeks in my downtime while I'm visiting Dubai. I decided I wanted to do something to give for free. I do it usually once a year, give like a lot of value to people. I said, let me make an announcement, see how many people register, and depending on the number and who they are and you know how much interest I get, I will determine what I'm going to do. And more than 75 people signed up. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to make this very good. It's a big amount of people. And I did it after I marketed and I had signups. And I've actually done that for every single product that I've sold. First, I sold it, then I created it. If anybody here is in my masterminds, type in the chat if you don't mind so people can see you. The people in my masterminds, we meet every 2 weeks. The mastermind finishes, I have 2 weeks to put together my content for the next mastermind. This is a high ticket offer, couple $1,000s in Europe, more than $5,000 in America. And I bring in guests, I bring in my own information. We do case studies, we figure out how to implement things. And I actually do it on the go. I do it based on what people need. I try to figure out, okay, what do they need now? What is the next logical step that I need to give them so they can have progress? Especially when it's a group of people, their needs are a little bit different and it's a different profile, right? The different profiles in there. So I'm trying to put together something that everyone will benefit from. The person that's unemployed at the same time as the person that's making $300,000 a year. That's what I mean by studying my customers. Nobody wants to be somewhere where they say, oh, this is not for me. I spent too much money. I shouldn't have. So that's what I mean by study your customer. So first I market, then I get sales, then I actually create my product. So I give enough time to myself to actually have time to build what it is that I'm selling. My third secret is I actually want to set a target price first and then figure out how to get that target price. So instead of saying, okay, let me design this course. Okay, I did it. Well, I think this course is worth about $300 or no, maybe $400. Okay, I'm going to sell it for $350. I do the opposite. I'm like, I'm going to now design a course for $5,000. I know that there's people out there that will pay me $5,000. What do I need to put together in one course where it's worth a lot more than $5,000 so people can pay me $5,000 to buy it? That's how I do it. That's how I do it. I set the target price that I want, and then I make it. And because of that, frankly, my coaches are constantly telling me that I'm giving way too much too cheap. Okay. Some people understand it. Some people don't because they don't have enough experience to understand that the information that they're getting is extremely valuable. Some people actually do get it. But at every stage, based on my own goals, I want to set my own targets and I want to be able to meet my goals. I don't like to have goals that I don't meet because it actually, it's like, remember what I said before, I want to stack on wins, not on failures. So if I set a target for a $5,000 package, course, mastermind, whatever, I'm like, okay, it's going to be a little bit harder. Not many people have $5,000. Some of them do. What would I give? What would I be willing to give in order what would I be willing to pay for $5,000? And that's usually how I think, because I will never sell anything that I wouldn't pay myself. I will never sell anything at a price that I wouldn't pay myself. If I did that, I wouldn't be comfortable doing it, and I probably wouldn't be able to sell it, or I would sell it and then feel very bad about it and probably mess it up. So I want to feel very comfortable, even if it's high price, that I would be paying for it too. And frankly, I think that some people are charging way too much money They have no foundation behind them, okay? And they're promising things that they've never accomplished themselves. And it's just unfortunate because I don't think that somebody who has not done it themselves can bring the results to all the people that are joining their course. It's different if somebody is acting as a coach one-on-one and bringing the best out of you. I do that too. I work with people that are really, really good at what they do. Authors, dentists, hotel owners, like super successful people. I see their talent, I see their strength, and sometimes they have blind spots. I find it for them and I help them move faster, right? I haven't done what they've done, but I know how to uncover I know how to maximize their skill because I've been doing that for 14 years as a senior manager, okay? But if I haven't done $20,000 a month and I'm bringing all of you here and I'm trying to tell you how to make $20,000 a month and I've never done it, you shouldn't be listening to me. So double, triple check whoever it is that's making those claims. Don't be afraid to ask them for some proof, okay? Most people that I've seen have not actually done it themselves. Another secret is, and I don't know how much of a secret this is. I mean, I think this is common sense that a lot of you or some of you are actually, listen, let me be totally honest. I think that most people are not ready to go out and sell something because they haven't done enough of the legwork that it's required to go out in public, okay? And that's why I like the phrase that says, you get rewarded in public for all the work you did in private. There's a lot of work behind this $100,000. Not only my, 25 plus years of working for other people, but also studying, sales, marketing, social media. Like I constantly, if I can't sleep at night, I don't turn on Netflix. I turn on YouTube and I study my own teachers. Okay, how to become a better salesman? How to, what's working right now? Things change all the time. Like stuff that people, the stuff that people tell you that work for them might be outdated by now because so many other people are doing it where if it appears that everybody is copying somebody else, to me, that's an indicator that person is not an expert. They're copying somebody else's technique. And that kind of scares me. Like, oh, I've seen that before. I think they're copying what they're doing. I don't think they know what to do. So I don't like to copy other people, but I do like to copy, how can I say this? I like to copy not the specific thing they're doing, but the volume of things they're doing. So if somebody's sending many more emails than me and they have more success, it kind of tells me that I need to be sending more communication out there because now people need to see more of me than they used to do in the past. In the past, they used to say, you need to see an advertisement about 7 times in order to buy something. Now it's like 45 times before you buy something. So I felt bad about spamming people with email, but the people that want to be your follower will not unsubscribe from you. So it doesn't matter. So I'm not copying the email necessarily, but I'm copying the fact that they're sending many, many emails. So that's what I mean. So you have to model the super successful, but don't copy them. Model what they're doing. Don't copy exactly what they're doing. Again, be so unique that you have no competition. Creativity in your offerings will be key. I don't like competition. I think it's very stressful. I think that most business eventually go out of business because of competition. Somebody will be cheaper than somebody else. It happens in major stores. It happens in various industries. And that's why you see people that have spent so much time in school and college studying, opening a business, having to reduce their rates. It happens in every industry because there's so much competition and their only way to make money is to actually become cheaper. One, because most of the customers don't have enough money because of inflation. And two, there's so many more lawyers, dentists, doctors, blah, blah, blah. So they have to become a little bit cheaper. Okay, so as we're coming to an end, if you are somebody that wants to make $100,000 online, I want you to look at these 3 pieces of action in this order that you should look at. Okay, so I'm giving you a couple seconds to read them on your own as I'm going to go through the chat and see what people have been writing. Okay, I don't see any questions, but if you have any questions, type them in here or in the comments afterwards when I post this. But basically, the first thing is a decision. Do you think that this is the right thing for you? I call it a business. I highlight it. I think if you come in the online world, I want you to consider it a business, not just a hobby. It will be amazing if you don't need to support yourself from it. So in the beginning, maybe it's a side hustle. That's totally fine. But I want you to decide if you are willing to invest your precious time, money, and effort, because like I said, I'm not giving you any specific tactics today, because I do think that depending on your unique talents, you may attract people a different way. You may be a lot more funnier, you may be more sexier, you may be great in camera. There's different ways to attract more people. But at the end of the day, I think my principles are fundamental. Like if you don't have any good amount of value, you may get attention, but that's it, right? So you need the principles, you need the fundamentals. But how you do it, there's a billion ways to actually do it. Like I've studied so many successful entrepreneurs. There's literally as many ways as there are entrepreneurs to make it happen. Okay, success has many, many routes, but I think the principles are key. So once you decide that this is for you, you should invest in yourself with the skills and knowledge that you need. Some things you already have. Maximize your strengths and forget your weaknesses. Don't try to become perfect at everything. I sure am not. And the most successful people that I work with, and I've had the honor to be mentored by billionaire CEOs and some, people that are well known out there. And they have basically told me to forget what I'm not good at and focus on the things that I'm good at and become even better, because our time is limited. And so many people try to do a billion things, and that's not how it works. Like the people, look at the athletes, look at the businessmen, they have some major flaws, but nobody's talking about those. We're looking at their skills. They became famous and the best of the best because of that one thing they're good at. And I'm not saying you should, become an Olympic winner right now, but focus on the things that you're good at and you want to continue improving, and you will have more results than the average person, who, by the way, used to be me, the straight A student, the student that had to have A's across the board because that's what our parents told us. In my opinion, bad advice. My opinion is find what somebody's good at and let them do even more of that so they can be great at it, okay? Or else they're going to be average. And then spare enough time so that you can put together authentic content. So many people share other people's posts, other people's quotes from ancient Greeks. Like, we know these things. They're not your quotes. Write your own quotes. Put your name on it. Change it up. Figure out what can you say, what clicked today. Like, what was one thing that I'm going to make a post out of Niko's presentation without copying Niko, but it's going to be my quote. Like, be authentic. It's not that difficult if you think like that, okay? Again, we won't, I mean, most of you will agree, you will not pay for somebody who is copying Tony Robbins, who is copying Grant Cardone, Patrick Bet-David, whoever it is, okay? Why would you, they have very cheap seminars, entry-level seminars that you can go to. Like, I've been to a $350 Patrick Bet-David seminar. It was pretty good. It was one day, 8 hours. It was pretty good. Like, why would I go to somebody else that's telling me the same stuff as he's telling me? And so many people do that. Authenticity is key. Now, I've said all that, but here's the major, major secret in life and business, that until you master your own self, it's very hard to master life and business. And what I mean by that is you truly need to become self-aware. and learn how to manage your feelings and control your mind. The most important skills that they forgot to teach us in school, or maybe they did on purpose, who knows? But the truth is that those skills are so important in business and in life. But let's talk about business in a little bit, because in business, you're dealing with people all the time, okay? All kinds of people. Today, I got a pretty weird email from somebody. And before the day was over, that person became a customer. And the reason why I thought that would happen was because my mentor told me that the biggest complainers are your best customers. They're not complaining on purpose. If somebody's taking the time to write you an email, blah, 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 and I didn't know the person, it's not like I worked with him and they had bad results. I never knew the person. They were just talking about how they don't have money to buy anything. And I said, exactly. Because, you can be asking for help all the time, but until you learn how to do it yourself, you will never get yourself unstuck and get yourself out of that circumstance. So that's the only thing I had to tell him. And he went and made his first offer, his first buy. So dealing with people is difficult. Dealing with yourself is even more difficult. The critical voice inside of our heads, being able to handle rejection, ridicule, all these things that will happen. So many people give up or don't try enough because they get some negative feedback in the beginning, or they don't get good results, or their mother criticizes them because they're doing something online, whatever that is. Master yourself and you will master life and business. Okay, that is what you need in addition to what you want. Remember, I told you that you need to sell people what they want, but give them what they need. That's truly my secret. And I have another free webinar, which I did last year, that talks about money mindset and the psychology behind money. So I will try to link it to this video once I upload it.